Thank you for joining us. We're very excited to be speaking to you today about your project. Yeah, why don't you start off by telling me a little bit about who you are and like where you're from and how you found CCIR?
Sure. So my name is Maria. I'm from Poland. I'm a sophomore high school student here in Poland, in Warsaw, so that's the capital of Poland. And I am on the biochemistry and physics pathway in my school, so I'm very much interested in science. And in the area of biology, it's mostly genetics and the genetic modification technique being CRISPR-Cas9. And that's an area of biology that I'm very much interested in. And that very much inspired me to find a program where I would be able to develop those passions further. And that's when I found CCIR. And I applied on like the last day that the admission was being held. And I wasn't really confident in my application as a whole. I was convinced that I wouldn't be able to pass the application process, but I did successfully, and I participated in the Cambridge Future Scholar program. Because prior to this, I did do a couple of research, like review-based work and research work in general in the area of like bio and genetics and CRISPR. So I had a bit of experience with that, and what stood out to me with the Cambridge Future Scholar program is that you work in a group and you're supported by not one, but two supervisors that can help you develop like not only your knowledge, but also a bit as a person, because I found that I learned a lot of skills and a lot of new things that I wasn't really expecting from this program. And I think that I also, very much kind of engaged with everything, and the fact that it was in a smaller group and I had two different people that were kind of supporting me along the way, it really helped. And that's what was a lot different to what to some other programs that I did prior to this.
Okay, very cool. And can you tell me a bit about what you ended up doing for your research project?
So since I was in like the cohort in the Cambridge Future Scholar, like different groups that you could choose, I was in like the biotech one, which focused on CRISPR. So my paper was relating to using CRISPR-Cas9 associated gene therapies in order to treat schizophrenia. And the reason for that, to why I chose this topic, was that, as I said, like I'm very interested in CRISPR, and earlier I was analyzing the usage of CRISPR-Cas9 in the treatment of neuro-associated disorders, such as ADHD or depression, and just different disorders that have medication that is not highly effective. And for schizophrenia, like the disorder is very much also related to the brain, and it's also a disorder that many face. And the idea of using CRISPR-Cas9, right? It is a genetic modification technique which is very precise, and it helps scientists and different researchers edit a specific fragment or part of the genetic sequence in your body in order to enhance it, or even delete a mutation that is causing different things and malfunctions in your body. And since schizophrenia has a very high heritability rate, meaning that genetics are a very big part of whether you have schizophrenia or not, and there are a lot of genetic factors associated with schizophrenia, you can use a genetic technique of modification such as CRISPR in order to treat it. And since I was doing different work with like ADHD and depression, I was like, okay, maybe I'll give it a go with schizophrenia. And actually, my professors, they told me that maybe schizophrenia would be a good go to do my research review paper about, and that's what I did. It's about using CRISPR-Cas9 in order to target specific genes that result and lead to having schizophrenia. So that was kind of my main thing, and the conclusion and the final product was a research review paper, and now it will be published in a very nice journal. So I'm very excited because I'm in the process of just doing the last edits, and it will be featured in a very nice journal for high school research.
Nice, congratulations. And what would you say were some of the challenges that you found when doing your research?
I think that for sure, even coming up with the topic, because I was very much fixated on doing it, of course, with CRISPR, but also maybe also like ADHD or depression, like another kind of disorder that I already knew a lot about. And actually, I was influenced by the supervisors of my program. They really suggested that maybe I should look into schizophrenia, like since it has a high irritability rate, then there might be a possibility that there's existing literature out there that relates to using CRISPR-Cas9 in the aims of treating schizophrenia. And yes, I think the main challenge for me, at least, was even figuring out the topic, because it did take me a bit of time. And then even learning how to do like figures, because when you have, like research papers, you have like specific pictures and stuff. And I did not know how to do them myself. Like I have written a bunch of different like articles before, and I would just always just like take them from the internet or like pay in order to get an image. And here, during my TA sessions, like I actually learned how to make the figures myself, and they look really nice. Like I'm so happy because I learned how to use this app called BioRender, and I was able to like make my own figures. And that was also challenging because I had to like do it very much on like my own part and have to like learn it by myself, honestly, because I was just, my TA professor, they just shared their screen, and I was like, okay, then will do this myself. And it was really fun because now I have like my own figures in my research papers. I'm very happy about that. So I think those two obstacles that I had to overcome, so I think that for sure.
Yeah, I feel like it's a great experience to learn how to do those things, because now you'll know for the future. Uh, there's a lot of good guidance, I think, in this program to teach you, since everybody is very new to the research experience. But yeah, it sounds like you guys did a lot of really great work. What were the results of your research?
Well, for sure, just producing the paper, and basically my paper, it outlined like different genetic factors, and it actually started off by analyzing how the causes for schizophrenia may be related to like the dopamine receptors in the brain, and then it kind of moved on to the specific gene that you would target. That basically, if you would use CRISPR to target that specific gene sequence, then the risks of having schizophrenia would be reduced. And in the end, like the conclusion of my research very much just concluded the fact that we would use CRISPR in order to target kind of the mutation that leads to the risk of having schizophrenia, and by targeting that mutation you would decrease that risk, and the risk of having schizophrenia would be lower. So that was like the part for me. And in terms of like, even as you said, with the guidance, like for sure, like even like how to make the figures, because I always thought it was pretty hard, and like that really helped me. And I did have some prior experience writing research review articles, so I think on that part, this program also helped to just even kind of solidify the knowledge I already had. And then also just like learn how to do these figures. Like it was a big thing for me, and I'm really happy that I did learn how to do them, because now I can implement that into like future articles I will be writing.
Yeah, that's really wonderful. Cool. Well, it's really good to hear about some of the uh some of the results and stuff like that. How would you say that your professor and TA and stuff assisted you? I know probably a lot, but what were the best ways that you felt like you were being supported?
I think that from my professor specifically, because she is a professor at US Berkeley, and she basically has like, she has her own lab and everything, and she works in like the area of science which I would be interested in working in. And I think that overall, like, because the whole program, like it consisted of like one lecture with like every week there would be like two meetings, one with the TA professor and then one with the professor of like the whole course. And with Professor Landry, I just loved how she was like really engaged and interested in what she was talking about on each of our presentations. And the fact that I could like even talk to her like during the meetings, I could ask some questions, and even if I would like write emails, she would be like really fast to reply. So I think that just her engagement overall, and then with my TA professor, like also it was really nice. And just like the figures, like I'm not gonna stop like talking about the figures, because it was like, yeah, I didn't think that would be even possible for me to like do my own kind of like, to even like show like my whole project in like figures that I would make. Like it was really nice. But yeah, with Professor Landry, like for sure, it was really nice. And even now, like I stayed in contact with her. A funny story, actually, I was doing an SAT like trial mock the other day, and I was doing like the writing and reading section, and actually she like popped up in my SAT mock, and I was like, what are the odds? Like she was literally there, and I was like, oh my gosh. It was like, oh, like she's working on some like nanotechnology stuff, and I was like, and then you had to like fill a word, and I was like, oh my gosh, like what? And I was like flabbergasted. I was like, oh my gosh. So I actually wrote to her, and I was like, oh, you popped up in my SAT mock, like it was so funny. And yeah, so for sure, like a very friendly person, to be honest with you. And even later, like I asked her a bit about like what her lab does and everything, and she like redirected me to her website and everything. So I hope that in the future, maybe if I'll be even thinking of maybe applying to UC Berkeley, then if I will even get in the end line, then for sure I would love to like see her in person, talk to her in person, because like genuinely a very nice person who's like very supportive. And of course with like the recommendation letters and everything, like also very nice that there's an option even to request a recommendation letter. And she went on, she was like, if you ever need like a recommendation letter or anything, then I'll be more than happy to write it for you. So it's like very nice that this program also offers that you can like gain the actual experience and also have like a kind of document to confirm that you actually obtained what you did from this program.
That's very cool. It sounds like you guys had a really nice relationship, and it's always good to know that these professors and TAs aren't actually like as intimidating as maybe
Yeah,
you would
because that's what
think
I
about.
was scared of a bit. I was like, oh, like two people. And at the beginning, actually, I did find my TA professor, to be honest with you, a bit intimidating, because it was a lot of knowledge that I didn't know. Like, I'm in my second year of high school, I'm in year 11. So there's like so grade 10, right, in the American system. But like, there's still not that much. Like, I didn't even start my A-level biology yet. And like, you know, AP bio, like I don't really have that yet. So I really had just my like IGCSE knowledge from like what like from the British curriculum, like what you get in year 11. So for sure, like in the beginning, I was like, geez, like this is kind of hard. But then I kind of just meandered my way through like the homework that we would receive from the TA professor. And it was like in the end, it was like very nice. And yeah, and for sure, like the experience was pretty nice in the end. And when we would like stop getting the homeworks because we have to actually like focus on writing the research, and I really like that because I would get like personalized feedback every week on like what to improve and like what about like my figures and like my titles and like even where I want to publish. Like I think there was a very big emphasis that like we're allowed, and like the possibility of like where we can do later with our projects is for sure to like get it published in some places and have it, you know, where your work out there for others to enjoy and read.
Yeah, amazing. And one of the questions I like to ask students is, what kind of student would you recommend the CCIR programs to?
I would recommend this program to people who would want to gain experience and would want to immerse within a thing that they already are interested in. Like I think for me for sure is I think that if I would have come into this program without like knowing that I'm like into like, you know, neurodegenerative and mental health disorders and CRISPR, it would have been kind of harder for me to do the scholar program. And then maybe if so, like I think that there are the two options. Like if you already like have a vision for yourself and like what you want to do, like what you even want to study in college, and I think the Cambridge Fisher Scholar program is like perfect because like you get the basis on how to write a paper, but I think it's more like very individually based. Like half of the time I was like very much like I was setting deadlines for myself, and I would just have to like communicate to Professor Landry. I was like, okay, so like I'll send my draft in like this Wednesday, so then like I can get feedback on Friday or something. And then like I think it's more kind of based that you need to like put the initiative into actually doing your project. And I think that maybe for like the one-on-one mentor program that CCIR also offers, like I think it's perfect for those who don't really know what they want to do yet, or like they know that they like bio, but they're like more like the textbook bio and they don't really know what they want to do outside of biology. Like that was a very big problem for me last year. And yeah, like my biology teacher, he would like ask me, he would be like what is it that you're like actually like deeply passionate about, like outside of the textbook? And I would be like, I don't know. So then that was kind of also the moment where I was like, geez, like doing programs like this where you can also get offered like financial support and stuff. Like I was doing this program on the like the merit STEM scholarship. Like there are so many opportunities out there that you can actually do stuff, and if even a factor for you is like the financial aspect, then that shouldn't be like your limit. So for sure, I think this is a program for those who like they want to deepen themselves within something that they already like are, they already kind of know what they want to do, because the course, like there are so many different course options. Like when I was picking my course, like of course, like I was like, yeah, like the second that I saw like CRISPR within like I was like, okay, I'll do this one. But like the other ones, like there were so many, and all of the professors, like they're so cool. Like when I was reading about everything, when I was applying to this, I was like, geez, like this is so cool. Like I want to do all of the different professors. Like I want to work with all of the different professors. So yeah, for sure. I think this aspect, and just even like doing a program like that, like it's a bit more competitive than the other programs out there when you have different research programs. So maybe if you like don't feel really strong about like your application, or like you don't really know if you would get in, then you can apply to one of those like lower rated programs, and then you can later try for this Cambridge one, because the admission rate is pretty low. So so just don't be discouraged by that, because that was a factor that I was discouraged by, and I was like, yeah, I don't know. And and then I'm here now doing this spotlight. So like it all works out in the end. So I think that don't be discouraged, and just like do, like if you know what you want and you want to be challenged in a way as well, because this is also a challenging program. Like if you don't have so much like bio, like if obviously you have like some textbook bio knowledge, but it's not like you're like a bio genius or something, then like yes, some aspects are challenging. But if you want to be challenged, like you're hardworking, like you're determined to like actually do your project, then for sure like this is an amazing program, and the people are really nice. And like I met so many nice like the people that were in my group, because I've been doing this for like literally nearly a year, like since last year when the program started, and now it recently finished. So I think that you can meet a lot of nice people as well. So for sure, if you want an environment like that and that's something you think you're lacking, then yeah, I think this is a good program to consider and apply for and even do.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, my next question was going to be if you have advice for the students, but I feel like you already answered that, because I think you gave some very good advice. I think
Yeah, but
students, yeah.
like I'm sorry that I'm interrupting you, but like I even like remember like I was like looking at the program for a while, like probably for 2 months, because I like finished my other one and I was like, geez, like there's like a void that I would like to fill and like look for something else. And I found CCIR, and actually when I was reading about the program online, it was like one of the higher rated ones, and I was like, oh, like maybe this will be a good fit for me. And then I like stumbled across the application process. I like put all of my files in the Dropbox, and then the next couple of weeks I get a notification that I like been elected for the interview, and I was like, what the heck? And yeah, and I did the interview, and yeah, so I like just like if you have some achievements before, then for sure like write them in. But I think it also comes like your personal statement, because I just like wrote about how I like bio, and I think that kind of reflected in my participation in the program as well. So just don't be scared and just apply, and then you'll see what the universe suggests.
Amazing. I love that advice. I think that we all need to be very courageous sometimes, especially when we're trying to do stuff that we want to do. So yeah, I think that's wonderful. And I can tell that you're very passionate about bio in general, but especially the project that you did. It sounds like you're about to be published too, which is so exciting. Yeah, I'm very excited for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, it was really nice chatting to you. Those are most of the questions that I had. Once again, congrats, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you do next.
Thank you so much.
Cool. Have a great spring break. It's good to meet you.
Bye bye. Thank
Bye.
you.